Sidney Tarot, in his study of French protesters, notes that protesters evolved from organized riots to nearly professional events, where complex barricades were built across streets and thoroughfares. How to build barricades and where to build the best ones to achieve the greatest effect is information that's inscribed on the collective mind of the community, and information that can be applied at any provocation. In other words, building a good barricade is part of the repertoire of a good French activist. For the tsunami help volunteers, some of them had volunteered in their communities before, but for many of them this was the first time they had volunteered either online or offline, and the whole episode was an opportunity to learn skills about how to work together. One volunteer said he learned to be a traffic cop. Volunteers would come to him and he would assign them to either the blog or the wiki. Another volunteer demonstrated her exceptional programming skills by fixing the blog. Essentially, she shortened the blog posts so that more posts could be seen on the front page at a glance. Another volunteer said she volunteered to organize the most complicated information on the wiki to prove her skills to the others. All these activities were a process of building trust among the volunteers and enabled them to take on bigger projects and more information. There were several instances in the early days of tsunami help when decisions had to be made. First of all, when the blog got too unwieldy with too much information, they had to decide to create a wiki. And once they decided to create the wiki, they had to move the wiki from its first host, which had rules which were too narrow, to an independent home, a process which required acquiring their own server. Also, they had to screen out potential scam artists trying to make a profit off the disaster. And another problem they faced was how to remain apolitical when so many of the problems in humanitarian response had political origins. To make these decisions, they communicated by email, by instant messaging, and by other means. And in this decidedly egalitarian group, they had to find ways to identify leaders that everyone could lean on. In other words, with tsunami help, the centrality of the human network was highlighted in this network community.